people are excited and the people up down. They have to remind of my Maggie song. Who Jack preserve and remain among. And it's funny how our hobbies and pastime run. Diversion, every tactics, mental stimulation. The entertainment value is the gratification. They will judge it by.
All right, we are back.
Live and direct.
Yeah, we're live and direct.
It's your Perspective Talk Show. We're here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. This is your host, Soup, along with my next counterpart.
Next partner in crime is David, aka Kimba, aka Christian, right here. This is the It's Your Perspective Talk Show.
Yes, sir.
And as promised, we have another guest in the studio tonight. There we go. We have another guest in the studio tonight. There I go. And there our guests go right there, Feli and Shalima. They're in the house. Wave
Yes,
to the
sir.
crowd. They are watching. You guys are streaming right now. We're gonna get right back. So we're just gonna do some quick demographic stuff.
Yes, sir.
And then we can jump right into it, man. I just want to say real quick, this is the It's Your Perspective Talk Show, coming to you live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 8 p.m. until. Feli, is this gonna be at until night?
Fully.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. So get your Wheaties. We're going to be here till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, just vibing on all kinds of stuff tonight. That's what the until means, 8 p.m. until. So, so we got 2 Facebook pages, It's Your Perspective Talk Show, and one for the website, streaming live from the vi.com. We're on Twitter. Hit us up. Tweet with us. Our Twitter account is VI Perspective. And most importantly, we do have a telephone number, 340-201-9005. Call us or text us and let us know how you're feeling. If you got
Yes,
any
sir.
questions for Feli,
Call a friend, tell a friend.
just link us up.
Yeah.
That's it right there, man. And most importantly, Feli, we are not on the radio. We are not on TV. We're on the internet only. Got to get to our website, streaming live from the vi.com in order to see this show, because we are broadcasting from an undisclosed location.
High-tech, low-tech studio.
That's it there, Feli. Undisclosed
Beautiful
location.
island of St. Croix.
Yeah, man. So we're just gonna kind of jump right into it, man. Super, Feli is our guest tonight.
Yes, sir.
Feli, just kind of, just kind of vibes out a little bit. Tell us,
Feli and Empress Shalima.
Empress Shalima.
And studio, live and direct.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Make sure you guys hold that mic a little close, and you'll be coming in loud and clear.
Yes.
Okay, good night to everyone. Tonight we decided we're going to speak a little bit about labor union. And,
Right.
I would not do this on my own without having Shalima, because she's really into it.
Right.
One of the things that is really impressive is that in the Caribbean we had the first ever labor union in the Caribbean, and next year is going to be 100 years since that union took place, and that's like a hidden secret, and we don't want it to be a secret anymore. We want it to be out in the public. If you look throughout the entire Caribbean, you would find that all the Caribbean islands, they use their labor union to control the government.
Feel like even before you get into that, just tell the people what's the benefit of having a labor union? Because a lot of us don't know what the benefit of having a labor union amongst ourselves. You check? Yeah.
Sometimes I use the word labor union because it is easier for us to understand, but
Yes,
everything must have a head. Even a pimple have a head.
that's right.
So I use the word labor union as a form of organizing the people. If you look throughout the entire Caribbean, most of the whatever we need, whether it be furnitures, groceries, whatever we need, we have to go to someone else and purchase these things. If we had one labor union, then the labor union would be able to open grocery stores, gas station, and that too can be non-profit. So instead of depending on the government, if we would formulate one labor union, really organize it the same way the Hamilton Jackson did,
Right.
then we'll be able to give back the people the grocery stores and the gas stations and the pharmacy and the home for the elderly. These are things that a labor union can actually own. And nobody really takes the time out to educate the people as to what they can do through non-profit organization. And this is really what labor union is all about. We did it in the past. It was referred to as the breadbasket of the Caribbean, and we have the opportunity to make St. Croix the Virgin Islands become the breadbasket of the Caribbean again. But I think if this must be done, the people must be educated first and understand the importance of owning their own labor union. Shalima, is there anything that you would like to say?
Good night. Sure, Mike. Okay.
Make sure your mic is on. Make sure it's on.
Okay, so
Yeah, there you go.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, greetings everyone, and thanks for having me on. To emphasize what Philae mentioned, the centennial actually for St. Croix Labor Union is next year.
Yes.
And why union is important in our own understanding of our story, that's David Hamilton Jackson and St. Croix Labor Union. It has proven that union can do a lot.
Okay.
Back in the days, they owned thousands of acres of land or property on the island of St. Croix. And there are ruins that still exist that belong to St. Croix Labor Union.
Right.
And many people, or even the children, aren't even aware of that. Adults may not even be aware of that.
True.
But the strength of the union was demonstrated in the past, and it can be done again.
Okay.
And it's very important to know this. Otherwise, we will lose out as a community, feeling like we can't do anything to gain the strength that we need to get.
Right.
But labor union has proven to be an important asset, as it was shown during the time of St. Croix Labor Union with David Hamilton Jackson and them.
So is it right now? How is our union status? Our labor union status right now on St. Croix? Well, basically in the Virgin Islands now. Besides the GRS, within the local one that has been created.
Well, first let me say that the majority of unions that exist here in the Virgin Islands are not local. So the majority of your monies or the dues, leave our territory. And why it's so important to have local unions is to see to it that our monies stay here.
Stays here, yeah.
Now, as it relates to local union, there's one union that reflects, or I would say like a replica of St. Croix Labor Union that exists today. And how many people know that? And that union is our Virgin Islands Labor Union. And I would like to share this information because, as you say, if you don't know, then what would you do?
We do, exactly.
So what I've done, and with the help of others, I've created a documentary that says St. Croix Labor Union still exists. And maybe at the break time or what have you, I'll give you, I'll show you what the flyer says.
All right.
So
you can hold it up to the camera. Just hold it up to the camera. Just get right up on it so they can at least see. They can see. Yeah, you can stand up and just get up a little closer on the camera. There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
all right. So it lists some of the members of St. Croix Labor Union.
Uh-huh.
And you may be surprised. It might be your grandfather or grandmother.
Yes.
Several people who have seen the documentary, they're like, oh, that's a family member of mine. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And when they learn that the properties where on St. Croix actually, that the union owned, then it's like, wow, here on St. Croix, it's time for us to appreciate where we are from, where we live. So that then our children, them especially, could really love the VI, and represent the VI and fight for the VI because their grandfather, grandmother, or granduncle or aunts, was part of a strong union, and that's St. Croix Labor Union.
Okay. So there's a video out now?
Yes, I do have. It's a documentary DVD, and it's for $3.
But where can we get it? Where can we go see that?
Okay, at this time I have it. It's available through me.
Okay.
But in a few, probably in September, October, they will be available at identified stores.
Okay.
But for now, I do have
Okay.
some available.
So and just give you, I guess if you want to give you a number so people can call you, you know.
Sure. My number is 643-7599. Start with the area code 340-643-7599.
Okay. We're gonna have you give those numbers again.
Again, yes.
For sure. So kind of continue on a little bit with.
So is the union active right now? You have presently members active in it in St. Croix Labor Union right now?
I think that one of the things that we should understand is that a lot has been done to hide St. Croix Labor Union. For instance, you pass by and you see Mutual Homes. That is not the name of Mutual Home. The name of Mutual Home is St. Croix Labor Union Mutual Homes.
See there, yes.
Over 4,000 acres of land has been purchased by the D. Hamilton Jackson Labor Union, and the purpose of those lands was to actually turn over to its members. But today, the grandchildren of these people who worked in St. Croix Labor Union are actually living in housing projects. So how come could we have 4,000 acres of land and we don't know where it's at? We don't know where it's at, you know. And
right.
I think more people need to understand what labor union can do, because if you have a labor union in your home and you don't understand it, that labor union can literally destroy your home. And if you understand labor union, then it can build your home.
Right.
The more we learn about labor union is the more constructive we can be with the labor union. You know, there are so many answers, there are so many questions, and if you pay attention in the next 2 years, is going to be 2017, and the government is focusing on the transfer day, and that too will be 100 years.
Yeah.
So you would find that there is more emphasis on the transfer day celebration than there is. Exactly. One of the things that I must say that over the past years I've come to a reality is that people seldomly like to talk about mental slavery, but mental slavery teaches us to go against ourselves. Anything that is in the best interest of black people, it is the hardest thing to implement among them, because we were trained to do so. We were trained. If I come up with an idea, like I've been doing this for the longest while, okay, let's create a labor union so where all the people can put all their money into this labor union. You wouldn't believe how difficult it is to let black people do something for their own self. Like every year we spend over $1 billion in food. Would we ever suggest to grow food? No, it is in our best interest to do so. So that will never become a reality. And I shouldn't say never, right, because what has to be done is we want to bring about changes, but we like to affect changes physically. But no changes cannot come physically if we don't address them mentally.
Right.
And I feel that is what we lack as a people, the ability to educate and bring along changes. We believe that if we go out and vote, then changes would come. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't vote, but I'm saying that people should be more responsible before they vote and after they vote. You know, just voting alone is not going to bring about changes. People need to understand politics, understand union. I think that a greater educational process must take place in order for us to really appreciate what D. Hamilton Jackson did, you know, because if you go back to when D. Hamilton Jackson started his union,
yes,
they made so much money that they had their own bank. You know, imagine a union in 1915 owning their own bank. You had a group of black people right here on this island in 1915 that had their own bank. Where else in the world would you go and find a group of black people in 1915 own their own bank?
No place else. I don't think it was happening. It wasn't happening. It was non-existent.
and now today we have to depend on everybody else bank to go to. We have actually gone backwards.
Yes.
You know, and even recently, couple years ago, you found that positive Senator Nelson, he passed a bill to teach labor union in the school,
Right.
but yet
It never get implemented.
no, I mean, no, it's a bill, it's the law, but if you pass a bill and you don't allot the funds for it, that bill is useless.
Yes.
So, you know, so if more people knew that, then more people would be able to bring about positive changes, and that's really why I'm here, to try to let people know, you know, what they can do, what labor union can do, you know,
Right.
to make things better in the community. And people need to understand that within a labor union, whatever committee you want to create, if you have a problem with the homeless, then you can create a community to solve the homeless problems. If you want to deal with agriculture, you can create an agriculture committee. You want to deal with education, you could create an education committee. You could address all your problems directly
Okay.
by using labor union. And the one thing that I really realize with the labor union is that if let's say the members wanted to grow food, then it would be that simple to a general meeting. I make a motion that the union grow food, and somebody would say, I second it. And then all the members would have an opportunity to vote on it there and then.
Right.
But whereas in politics, you have 15 people, you want to grow food, and if those 15 people don't feel like they want to grow food, you will never get food grown. So the difference between labor union and politics, there is more direct participation in labor union. I think that if the people was to understand labor union, and the labor union would grow, I think that in order for someone to become a politician, they would have to go through the union. A union can serve the purpose of a mini camp. You want to become a politician, let's see how well you can function within the union.
Right.
Let's see how much you can produce and promote for your members. And if you can, then you won't even suggest that you run, because your members will suggest for you. You should run, you're doing a good job in the union, you should go out and help the union politically. We don't have that. We don't have that. We don't have any form of checks and balance among the union. And I think that that's the direction we need to go. If we could control union, we will be able to control politics. Shalima, you have anything you want to say about that?
Actually add that members' participation is a must.
Okay.
Because similar to St. Croix Labor Union, due to the lack of members' participation or being very involved in the union, a so-called merger took place in which an international union then has came to be with the St. Croix Labor Union, and now the assets of St. Croix Labor Union was turned over to that international union.
What?
Yes. So I feel that if the members' participation, of course, if they aren't knowledgeable of what's going on in the union, then things that should not be happening will happen, and that could be tied into today's situations. If members are not involved in their union, especially a local union, things could happen, or things could be repeated from the past.
Okay.
So that's why it's important that members' participation is a must, so that things can grow in the union to benefit the members.
Is the union active right now?
It's active in the sense that there are some officers. It's active in the sense that there are meetings, and it's just members' participation to get things going and having accountability of certain things. Otherwise, a few will just do whatever they want, and it's not in the best interest of the members.
So if an individual wanted to join, how would they join?
Well, I would say, and I'm going to hold my breath for a minute, because there's some issues that needs to be resolved. But as it is right now, it has said that it's $15 initiation fee. And to be in the union as a non-collective bargaining member is $3 each month.
Okay.
But I'm gonna be patient because certain things need to be addressed within this local union.
So do you reach out to the like we got over what 10,000 or more in government employees? Do you reach out to these individuals and let them know you want them that you have a union and you want them to join?
Well, actually, a group of us, we have in the move to keep our union dues here from international unions, we rallied a lot of government employees to decertify from the international union and choose a local union, which is Overloo.
Right.
So several of the members from the different departments, 3 departments, since then joined Overloo.
Okay.
And I'm just a regular member of Overloo. And, you know, again, I'll say members' participation, because when you see that, you know, things can grow within Overloo, and some members don't see it, or they see a lot of controversy happening, then they may not want to be involved. So things need to be addressed. But Overloo and Fila is one of the founders.
Right.
You know, just as Terrence Nelson Positive is one of the founders.
Okay.
You know, as Fila had expressed to me, it's for the people. You know, for to benefit from Overloo, not just a selected few. Right. So, Fila.
I think that Shalima is really trying to be very
diplomatic.
Yeah. And there was a time in St. Croix Labor Union where there was actually turmoil going on in St. Croix Labor Union. And as I mentioned earlier, it is difficult for black people to come together and do things for themselves because of the training that we have received to go against ourselves. And really, a union can do extremely well for the community, but if it is all up to the leadership to educate the people. You know, people like to say that, yeah, the members should do this and the members should do that, and that's good. But if the members don't know, then it is the obligation of the leaders to teach. And there's a little conflict going on in Overloo, but rest assured, I think that eventually, you know, things will be handled and the people will be able to enjoy the union as it was intended. Shalima mentioned that the transfer of the land from of the assets from one union to the next, and she referred to it as a merger. And legally, no merger never took place with the St. Croix Labor Union and its asset. What happened is that St. Croix Labor Union never had any insurance, and what they did was that the people, the members of St. Croix Labor Union wanted insurance, and here comes this labor union having insurance, the welfare insurance. That's the name of the insurance.
Welfare insurance.
Welfare insurance. That's what we gave up our land for.
Welfare insurance.
Welfare insurance. And the members had to sign in order to get the insurance, and that's the only documented anything you could see of any merger taking place. The people wanted insurance, and
this is insurance, a bodily insurance, or just insurance to protect the assets?
No, this is insurance, but you working out in the field and you get hurt or something like that, right. You have insurance.
Okay.
They didn't have that, and the union, the outside international union, used that as bait, and it really cost the people. It cost the people thousands and thousands of acres of land. You know, if you really look at the condition of the economy, it is very hard to believe that labor union can do that. But I'm going to explain it. I don't know how many of you have ever seen termites eat wood. The termite eats the wood from the inside, and the wood appears to be beautiful on the outside. And that's basically what labor union did to the Virgin Islands. You're saying, well, how did they do that? If you look at the Virgin Islands government, the budget,
Right.
80-something% of it goes towards salary. And it is actually labor union who negotiated those salaries. Now, it's a good thing to negotiate salaries, but at the same time you're negotiating salaries, you have to increase revenues. And that was never done. We kept increasing salaries and not increasing revenues. And the easiest way to increase revenues was simply to turn towards agriculture. And our leaders don't want to do that. So labor union kept negotiating salaries, and today we are at the point at which we are at today. And name a problem that we have that a labor union is trying to address. None. You cannot hear from any of the labor leaders. You cannot hear from them in times of need. You can't hear from them. And I think one of the most detrimental thing that the labor leaders did to the people of the Virgin Islands is, as they negotiated contract, they placed into this contract no strike, no lockout, meaning that regardless of what hardship the government brings on these members,
Right.
they cannot strike. They can't do anything about it unless the contract expires. And most of the unions, when the contract expires, they go into what they term to be a day-to-day contract. And these day-to-day contract, what it really does is it takes on the old existing expired contract, which has the no strike, no lockout clause in it. So once you enter into a day-to-day, you still can't strike, because what you're really doing day-to-day, you're not creating a new contract, but you're just picking up the old existing expired contract and going day-to-day.
Right.
And because this contract has no strike, no lockout, the government don't even have to negotiate with you. Like, it's been about maybe 3 to 4 years now that the AFT contract has expired, and they've been going day-to-day, and there's nothing that you could really do, because once you go into a day-to-day contract, and a day-to-day contract has the no strike, no lockout in it, the government don't have to do nothing. They don't have to negotiate. And there is really nothing that the unions can do.
Right.
Why would anybody pay dues to a union that cannot strike? You know, the strength of a union comes from the ability to strike. Both the local law Act 4440 gives you, the union members, the right to strike, and any federal law that has anything to do with labor union also, they also give the members the right to strike. When you enter into a contractual agreement saying that you cannot strike, what you're actually doing is waiving your right to strike. And if the members are not aware of what they're doing, and I mean they're not aware, you may think that, you know, it is something that the educators should know that
Right.
they're wavering, but they don't. You would be amazed how many things that the people of the Virgin Islands really don't know about their basic rights. You know, and
So they don't still get a contract to read for themselves. They don't.
yes, they do, but the part of the contract that is more entertaining to the members is the raise.
The salaries, yes.
And as long as that remains the focus,
Right.
you know, the fish don't be seeing the hook, you know, it'll only be seeing the bait. And that's what the union does by putting this salary thing in front of them. That's the bait. And when you bite, you get the no strike, no lockout hook.
Yes.
You know, and it's really sad. It's really, really sad. And
So basically, Fide, how many unions do they got here now that on that basically all of them that
every unionized government contract and some private contract has that in it. And I have a contract at home, and that contract is dated 1960 something, and they call the no strike, no lockout, they refer to it as industrial peace. and that's the first time I have any document to go back as to how far back the no strike, no lockout exists. Shalima, you have anything you want to say?
Yes, as you talk about strike, one of the things that was really instrumental with St. Croix Labor Union back then was the Great Strike.
The Great Strike.
The Great Strike. And that goes to show that you can use that when it's really necessary.
Right.
So when you give up your rights to strike, then you're really suffering for the most part.
So let me ask you this now. I'm gonna be a real practical man, 'cause that's why I be here. Practically. So if now today now we having a dispute with the, let's say with the teachers union, and the teachers them now decide now, well, you know what? We know he's not in that. We know he's not in there if we can't strike, and we do decide to go that road now to strike. What gonna happen now? They're gonna fire them. They're gonna lay them off.
No, well, once you enter into a binding agreement and you break that agreement, it's called a breach of contract, and a breach of contract becomes a legal matter, and all the education department has to do is go to a judge, and the judge will issue a TRO and send the teachers back to work, because they have a contractual agreement, and in that agreement it says no strike, no lockout.
Okay.
It is only the legislature that do not know when a contract is breached. It's a legal issue. They leave it to be a legislative issue.
Okay. No said. Yeah, because I really want to know how we could empower the people them now to really get them in this mindset now that it really is beneficial to them to join a local labor union instead of being in these international unions that have nothing to do with us here, only just taking our dues, you know.
I think in the earlys what was done is that when these union came here, things were kind of hard, and they came in the transition where the government was literally breaking down the house roofs of the people to put them into industries to work. And while they went into industry, they were actually making more money, and that kind of made them start believing in the international unions. And then you saw them coming. But one of the things that I think is very important and the people should understand is that sometimes you hear steel workers and you think of one union, but if you have a steel workers in one department and you have a steel workers in some other department, most of the times they are different chapters. I often say that steel workers have more chapters than the Bible. Because if the government is oppressing one steel worker organization, that one steel worker group have a contract. So the other steel worker organization, although they are steel workers, they can't get involved into what's going on with the other steel workers. You know, the same thing with SIU. You find SIU having contracts, but each contract, the contract for the correctional officers, the contracts for different offices, one have nothing to actually do with the other. If union must be successful, you know, if you have a pipe and that pipe have 5 unions in it, one of them gonna leak.
You can leak.
You know, so having a lot of unions is not the answer. You know, it's not. If you have one basic union like what D. Hamilton Jackson did, then you can build the community. You know, you can build it. When there was a time in Virgin Islands government when the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Labor was one. It wasn't labor and agriculture. There was actually one, because most of the jobs came through agriculture.
Yes, sir.
And that is where we need to go back to, because there is no existing position in life that cannot be used in agriculture. If you're really doing agriculture in abundance, an accountant becomes somebody that you need. You know, if somebody's out in the field and they get cut, you need a doctor. You know, if a piece of tool breaks, you need somebody to repair it. You need a mechanic.
Yes.
You know, if you're storing produce, you need a refrigeration
Yes.
technician.
Yes.
If you have to work in the night, you're gonna need light to go into these coolers, so you're gonna need an electrician. Every single job that you could think about, there's a place for it in agriculture. And one of the reasons why we cannot create jobs is because we're not looking towards agriculture.
Okay.
Education is a must, and the more people understand what they have, they'll
Right.
appreciate it. So I think it's important to let them know the greatness here in the Virgin Islands,
Yes.
so that all unions, you know, even though if you're part of an international unit, at least you could start thinking, hey, I live here.
Maybe I could join Ogilvy.
Exactly.
Join a local. Okay.
Right.
So I could be part of 2 unions too. I could be part of 2 unions.
Yes, you can. Because in this matter, I am into
Okay.
unions.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm being patient, and you know.
So as you're part of a union now, I mean, you getting any benefits? Any benefits afforded to you as you're paying your monthly dues now? I mean,
Well, when it comes to the international union, there are certain benefits that are only available on the mainland U.S.
okay.
For the most part.
So we're just paying our fees here then. That's how we see because and now as we talking, you know, now as we speaking now, because a fee is coming out of my check and I don't know where the hell is going. I don't know who representing me. I never hear a union meeting call. I hear my mind just starting to flip now. I'm starting to go through all of these things and I'm saying, well, what really going on here with you?
Well, there's one thing, let me tell you. When I started to see money's coming out of my check and it's going to a union, and I was like, wait, all of these things are being deducted out of my check and I'm bringing home this? Now, everything that's being deducted better be to my benefit. So
Benefit, yeah.
I questioned, and then I asked, you know, about this union,
Right.
the union that's the international union, and I said, okay, who's the officers? When are y'all having meetings and stuff like that? So when it came to me that, okay, this is a educated member, you know, then you become targeted as you know too much, you know.
Exactly.
And it really
troublemaker.
revealed that the union at the time was not holding meetings regularly or even for years. So when I learned that other members started to get involved, then
Right.
it's like, you know, we did a little shake up, so to speak, that forced the union to start doing what it was supposed to do. So I could just say that, you know, hey, if your money's coming out of your paycheck, you need to know where it's going, who's
exactly.
representing, and then, hey.
Yeah, because and then too, it seemed like say, my hand was twisted forced to do this because I can't remember. I can't remember how I got into it now to really think about it. I guess it must be the first day I signed one of them papers they took to me. I signed it and just keep it moving.
And that's exactly it. And what union are you in?
The Steelworkers Union.
You know, if you ask most people that question, they won't be able to answer. Well,
Yes,
who's the president of your union?
I don't know. I'm telling you, I know a man that telling me that he's a representative of the union. I know a union. I guess he could be a union official. Cause just yesterday you're telling me he's been on some trip, but I really didn't get to it because I was into something else too. But I need to really start to question,
yeah,
and know exactly what's really going on.
Imagine going into a grocery store and buying groceries. You know you spend your money, but when you come out of the shop,
You don't know.
you don't have any groceries. And that's what
Where
union
did my
is
money
like.
go?
Exactly.
Yes,
And that's what
yes,
union is like. It's like spending money to buy groceries, but you come out with your hands swinging. And that's what I mean, that people need to be more responsible. Because if every 2 weeks I came to your job and tell you give me $10, you might give me for the first 2-3 weeks. But how long you think you're going to keep giving me $10 until, if you stay where you're working right now for the next 30 years, you're going to pay dues for the next 30 years, and when you retire, you know you're not going to get a retirement out of that. You're not.
And that shouldn't be, because again, that's supposed to be a pension fund or some kind of contribution. You understand me?
That's why we have the problem that we have with the GRS, because the government has too much power over the GERS. The members should be the one who should be running the GERS. And if the unions had any backbone, they would see to it that the union had more say. But if you look at the union, the only basic difference is that the government abuse taxes and union leaders abuse those. So which one is going to tell which one to stop?
None.
And that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem. The union should really be the checks and balance, seeing to it that the government do what they should do for the members.
So the union has a president, a vice president, a treasurer, a secretary. It has an office. It has an office base.
All unions are basically structured more or less like the legislature. It has what we have, the executive, like the government, I should say. You have what we call the executive branch, which would be the president, and then you have the legislative branch, which would serve
senators.
The senators, which in the union would be the representative council. And as you say, make the laws. That's what the representative council in a union should do.
Okay.
But as I said earlier, one of the basic difference is that the representative council can only make laws as the members tell them to. Whereas in the legislature, if they feel like they want Diageo, they bring Diageo. If they feel like they want has to breach a contract and kill people and let them go, wherever they want to do, they could do, you know. But in a union, the people have more direct control over the governing body.
Okay.
I honestly think that it is important for people to really become familiar. It is, the government has done an excellent job to hide labor union. They're not ever going to take the time out to teach labor union, because if you become knowledgeable about labor union, you become less ignorant. And if you become less ignorant, there is no way politicians could control you. The more ignorant you are, the easier you are to be controlled.
Definitely.
So this is why education is in a shamble. Because if they fix education, we will fix every single one of our problems. Because most of our problems that exist is because we lack education. Tomorrow we're going to wake up, we're going to have breakfast, lunch and dinner, but we don't grow food.
Exactly.
That's an educational problem.
Right, and even though you say educate, it's like, what are you being educated? Because they could educate you to just, train you to just continue being, for a lack of a better word, a slave.
Their purpose.
Right. Yeah, so if they educate you to empower you, then, for your own benefit, it will show that, yes, you're educating me the right way.
Definitely.
Well, yeah.
So how, so are you actively seeking members now for Ogilvy, or you just kind of put that on a hold for it?
I think internally, Ovilu have some real serious issues, and if people going to come on board Ovilu right now, it would have to be people who are willing to help to fix the problem. If you're going to come to Ovilu and don't know who the president is, know that you're paying dues, don't know where you're going, right now I wouldn't suggest that take place. I think that there are some problems that we are dealing with, and in a few weeks, I'm almost sure that it's going to be in the front page, that because we intend to fix the problem. I see Ovilu as a vehicle that will take the people where they need to go and stop being dependent on other people. When you depend on somebody for food, that's a serious thing, because food is a basic essential thing. The creator, regardless of what food you eat, it either comes from a tree or it pushes up out the ground, and that's for free. The earth don't charge nobody to grow food.
Yes.
So food should be a fundamental right, and we don't have that fundamental right. God forbid that next week ships and planes stop
Stop coming here.
We
Yeah.
have a problem. We have a problem. We really would have a problem. And
They ain't gonna eat me for sure, 'cause I go in hills.
And if you think they're not coming in the hills, you know, there is a slogan that I tell people that they must tell to the politician. If you want to lead me, you better learn to feed me.
Feed me.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't understand a leader coming to you and telling you that they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And while they're telling you that you're hungry and you don't know where your next meal going to come from. You know, and it's really sad what takes place here, because our problems ain't no big problem, you know. It's not. All it's going to take is decent-minded human beings to fix it.
Right.
You know, we have to stop selling out our people.
And sell out cheap.
Yeah.
No reason, you know. It's just like I don't know.
You know, Fila, every day we do the show, man, on our sheet here, on our show sheet, we say, Fila, it says education, agriculture, and labor makes for a productive society. You know, and we big you up every show,
Yeah.
and that's what we say.
I see those three things as the pillar of a community, and sometimes we try to address health. We make health a big issue, but guess what? If you address agriculture and education,
The health will be
then
taken.
you address health.
The
You know,
will be
there
taken
is
care of, yes, sir.
there is no problem that you could say to me that I cannot take agriculture, education, or labor and address it. Any which problem that you mention that exists in a community, you want to talk about crime, grow food, and you reduce poverty. Where there is poverty, there is crime. You know, so
Sociology study this all the time. You give them
Exactly.
things to do, you know, the crime drops. But again, they're not in that business, so they're in the business of making jails. And that's a whole different story. But yeah, man, you know, so we want the people them to be educated and informed and enlightened, you know, because we tired of seeing the condition that they've been living in right now for these past hundreds of years. And now for them not to have David Hamilton in their forefront for this 100-year centenary that's coming up, and everything we're hearing is 2017 is like a slap in our face, you know. And I don't even think the citizens them realize
What's going on there?
what's on the forefront for them here right now, Kimba. Yeah.
I think that we are so caught up in our day-to-day illusion that even if reality stares us in our face, we will ask, what's that? Because we really don't have a clue. And I would keep repeating, you know that you need breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's a must.
Yes.
Then, you know, why are we not growing food? If you look at the budget for the Virgin Islands government and you look into waste management, you would find that there is more money budgeted for waste management than there is for agriculture. Imagine going into a grocery store and coming out with a grocery store with a cart full of toilet paper. That's what we are doing. We are actually literally budgeting more money for waste than for food. How could a man produce waste if he's not eating? You know,
they got it upside down, how the whole thing spin around.
We really need to, you know, and it's I think one of our problems is that when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at will change. But we want to keep looking at life the same way and expect changes. You know, people need to become more dedicated. People need to understand that when the government is playing games, the loser becomes our children.
Right.
You know, in anything that you play, there's a winner and there's a loser. And we need to realize the hardship. You know, that these labor unions have really brought some hardship on us. We need to start realizing that when we see people dying in the street, people dying from cancer, we need to understand that all these things could be avoided if labor leaders were more committed to the people that pay them. You know, and it's simple. It's no big issue. It's very simple. But people need to become more conscious. People need, and it's easy for me to say that people need to become more conscious, but when you look at a human being and you see them growing, it's because they're eating food. But what grows the mind is knowledge. And where are the people getting this knowledge from? They're not. Most of what we deem to be solution is actually the problem. You know, the two basic guidelines that we have to guide us is politics or religion. If I wanted to start an argument, I could just discuss either which one, politics or religion.
Yes, for
So
sure.
how could something guide me and at the same time tear me apart? You know, that's really oxymoron. But because we were trained to believe in this, we believe it. But we need to rise above our training.
And as you said, feel like from ever since, you know, the mindset got to change. The mind, if that mindset don't change, then nothing gonna change, because everything we see around us was a thought first before it come a reality. You understand? So if that mindset don't change, we could continue doing the same thing like what we're doing now 2 years, every 4 years going through the same ritual and nothing changed except for the past, 600 years, 500 years, the same thing been happening and no change has come. No significant change because the mindset has not changed. You know,
Right.
so.
Yeah, you guys all right over there? You guys need a break?
Yeah, I could take a little break.
Okay. Yeah, our guests tonight, Feli and Shalima. There they are right there. We're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right. We are back. This is the It's Your Perspective Talk Show. It's about 10:12 p.m. on Tuesday, August 19, 2014. My name is David, a.k.a. Kimba, a.k.a. Christian, alongside
Soup.
That's it right there. In the studio tonight, Feli. Feli was on our show on the phone some months back. Finally got him in the studio. He's alongside Shalima. You guys are streaming right now. So Feli, man, just kind of put it all together. Put it all together and,
That it is important that I explain to the listening audience that it was never the intent for labor union to be successful here in the Virgin Islands. In 1917, when the United States purchased the Virgin Islands, most people don't know this, but 3 years later, D. Hamilton Jackson was before the naval court. By 1920, actually, he was before the naval court being tried for misuse of the union funds. He was found not guilty, but however, a lot of differences went on between D. Hamilton Jackson and other people in the labor union, and it is really hard for people to understand, how could something that good get to the point where it's at today. A couple days ago, myself and Positive Senator Nelson created a labor union, and it is deja vu again. It is the same power struggle. People do things and they don't do things for the right reason. If you live in an economy, you live in a place, and you promise the people that you're going to produce a union and the union is going to make things better, I think you should stick to your word, and
Right.
that's the back and forth that's going on with the labor union. And I'm not ever going to say that it's the members' fault, because leaders make themselves leaders. They put themselves in a position to be a leader. I don't think that somebody can become a leader. You were either born a leader or you're not a leader.
or you're not a leader, yeah.
College can't make you become a leader. How much degree you own don't make you be a leader, And I think people need to start looking at leaders from a different perspective, because you living in a community all your life, and an individual never doing nothing, and all of a sudden you're seeing the face on a poster saying they want to become a senator. If you ain't never do nothing before, you think you're going to do anything after. People
Illusions, all illusions.
People need to be more real, And I'm not saying that you need to go to everything, but you're going to baseball, or take for instance me, I love basketball. So I go into basketball and I never see no certain senator showing up to no game, but then when election time come, I see them in a gym. It looks so funny, but
Out of place.
we need to learn to really give a definition to what leadership really means. I think that leaders are anointed and never appointed, and we need to see that. I could go into a school and you leave me in a school for an hour and leave me with the second graders, first graders, and I could show you the leaders from an early age, because wherever they go, the group
Follows them, yeah.
And as a former teacher, I have seen that over and over. You leave me any place for a minute and I will define who the leaders are, because one of the things that we do with leaders in a society, especially young people, because they are so determined and somebody always following them, we label them as troublesome. But most young people who has that determination to become leaders, because they are in the maturity stage, they don't do everything in the right manner. They don't understand, and see themselves as leader. And it is up for us, the older ones, to guide them in that direction. But we guide our young ones straight to jail, and who don't go to jail go to the graveyard.
Yes, sir.
And that's why we have so many misleaders sitting in place.
All right. Shalima?
Well, I want to say that we have work to do as a people.
Yes.
And as we are able-bodied, we need to do what really needs to happen, because the young people are depending on us to straighten up our act, straighten up things for their sake.
Definitely.
We don't want them to reach to the point when they reach our age that they're suffering.
Doing the same thing what we're doing now.
Exactly. And you really have to put aside, if someone from your childhood growing up or a classmate or what have you, if they're doing wrong, then you need to be straight up, man or woman, and tell them, hey, you're doing wrong, and I'm not going to go along with it.
Yes.
Because it's going to hurt the
future generation. That's right.
And that's where I feel like with David Hamilton Jackson and others, who were very instrumental with St. Croix Labor Union,
yes.
They started something. They left it for us to pick up the torch and exactly, carry it forward. And then when we pass on, the younger generation is going to pick up where we left.
That's right.
To improve things. And that's where I think the mindset needs to be for the adults today.
Right.
Because we're not as the lady expressed before. We're here today and gone today.
Today, exactly.
So what we could do today to improve for tomorrow, let's do it.
Yes. All right. Thank you both for gracing us with your presence in the studio.
Thank you.
Actually, we got we got about another 6 minutes.
Okay. Go ahead. I feel I wanted to say something.
Yeah.
As a young child, my mother would always speak to me in parables, and one of the most important parable that I think she left with me is that she always tell me about the dog crossing the river and looking over the bridge and seeing a dog with a bigger bone. And then the dog started barking after the dog with the bigger bone because the dog wanted the bigger bone, only to lose his bone and realize that he was barking at his shadow. I think that's what happened to us when we brought the International Union in. We were actually barking after our shadow. We were just seeing our reflection because we had a bone and our bone had a bank. And
Sweet.
There was no place else in the world you could go in 1915.
Go back in 1915 and look
at a dog with a bone crossing a river. We should not have barked. That was the detriment. That was to our detriment. We should have held on to our bone and keep going our own way.
Right.
And definitely, St. Croix Labor Union at the time had more assets than the International Union that came in. So just as what Phil just said, we had the money. Okay.
You take it and get away because somebody come up with a name, a fancy name, and something behind the title.
Exactly.
Yes,
and we lose how big.
Yeah, man. Well, just keep pushing what you're pushing, Shalima. I feel like that way you're side by side, and anything Issue Perspective could do, and I could do, and Kima could do, we are definitely.
For sure, man. Feel like you already know, man. Anytime you got anything to say or whatever, you just call us. We'll put you on the schedule. It's not a problem, man. For sure,
That's really a good thing. It's a good thing that I can actually come to people that I know to say what I have to say, and I'm not voicing my opinion. I'm stating the facts.
Yes,
so I don't want anybody to believe that I'm just voicing my opinion. I'm really stating the facts, And the moral of my story is don't bark after your bone.
Yes,
There it is right there, man. This is the It's Your Perspective talk show. It is Tuesday, August 19th. It's about 10:20. Feel like we got about 4 minutes. I already posted at 10:24. We're gonna play this video, so we got about 4 minutes just to kind of fill it up. Any last things? Anything maybe you might have forgotten to say, or
it was really a pleasure back then billing Overlook, and I honestly wish that this part of it that I really didn't have to go through, because when it was time to bill Overlook, I had to have met Terrence Nelson. It was very important. Overlook could not have been built without me and Terrence Nelson Positive meeting at the crossroads. And it is so funny that now that Overlook is going through its ups and downs, it seems as though every time I need help, the forces send me help, because now that I need help to really save and deliver Overlook back to its people, now I have Shalima on my side. When it was time to build it, Positive was there. It's very unfortunate that things don't always stay the way they were, but
Right.
it's a good thing. It is one of the, besides my family, my children, one of the most important things that I think that I've ever done was building Ovilu, and I hope that one day would come where the people would understand the importance of it, because building Ovilu had nothing to do with Fila, it had nothing to do with Positive. We were just being used, the flesh were being used by the spirit to do something great,
Yes, sir.
I hope that one day the people will grab it and see what it is and go back to 1915, and maybe we could one day own our own grocery store, our own bank, instead of sticking people in the home for the elderly. We could create an environment where the elderly has a lot to teach to us.
That's right.
And one of the reasons why we're going astray and forgetting culture and not knowing culture is because we're sticking them in the home for the elderly.
Yes,
alone.
for sure. For sure.
That has to be done because of the financial hardship
Yeah,
that
the
people
burdens
have to
that
go
go
through.
through,
yeah.
People have to go to work, so they don't have any other choice. But we can create a community which people could take care of people, instead of just
We
sticking
need
them
to
in the
start
home.
creating works. We need to start creating our own jobs. Going as Shalima just said, going to the plantation. So
Yeah.
that's the key to
Your
it.
own plantation.
Yeah,
not the master's
our
plantation.
exactly. I love to get up in the morning, go in my backyard, and I was saying, damn, it's about time. I could go just call a man there. Let me go on a boat and go out here. Even though I don't eat fish, but just go out on a boat and we could fish and come back and just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just vibes a little bit. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
man. Just keep doing what y'all doing. Just stay positive, and anything that we could do, and it's your perspective. This is a medium. It's a platform y'all could use to go out. You're not St. Croix alone. You're going out to the world.
That's it right there, man.
So, as you said, we didn't know that we two man would have been running through. We three of you would have been running through the bush there, and that's the way we didn't know today. Yeah, understand me? So, yeah.
Yeah, man. So you guys have a telephone number, website, any of that kind of stuff you want to let them know about? Any of that kind of stuff?
Well, for me, my number is area code 340-643-7599. I'm also on Facebook. That's Shalima Edwards.
Okay.
I also have you guys the
website,
the
yeah.
website right there on my Facebook as well. So
Okay,
you visit
great.
me, you click on
Yes,
to
sir.
Okay.
yeah.
Good look, Shalima.
Yeah, definitely,
Yes, sir.
It's like each one reach
Each
one
one
vibes,
vibes,
each
yes,
one
sir.
teach one vibes,
Okay.
and keep up the good work that you're doing, and
Yes,
you'll be
sir.
successful at the end.
Give thanks, and you do the same too. As I said, we gonna work with each other. We gonna make this thing work. You know what I mean? So,
For sure, man. For sure.
Kimba.
Yeah, man. It's